Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jay Stoy, and on the show today we have Councillor Paul Sharman from Ward 5, Burlington, Ontario, in the Halton region. Paul, thanks for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it.
It's a great pleasure to be here with it in the first-time show for you. So excited to be with you. And Halton's where I live because I love it, and this is a good place to be doing this show. Thank you.
Well, it sure is, Paul, and I can second that. It also, I'm a Burlington resident, and I love the people. I love the mayor, Jane McKenna, have been very supportive of our platform. I love the people, but you know what? Since you've been here and you're entrenched in Burlington and the business economic development situation, please tell us a little bit about Burlington, about what's going on, and I will jump in when it's appropriate.
Oh my gosh. You know, I lived in Oakville for 20 years, and then I moved to the United States. I was running a corporation down there. And when I came back, I thought, where do I want to live? And I thought, you know, there was a toss-up between Blue Mountains and Burlington. And I thought, well, you know, that's a long way to be driving down to the airport. So Burlington won out because I knew it was a great family environment. People love it. You know, when you knock on the door when you're campaigning and you ask people, say, what can we do better in Burlington? The answer is always, I love Burlington. And that is the culture of Burlington. You know, there's no sense of privilege. There's no sense of, you know, we are the best. No, we just love it. That's why I love Burlington. We're growing. We have a lot to accomplish coming up. But so does the rest of Ontario, and we're learning how to manage that. And we'll do it well.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I have to say, coming from Toronto and then all coming from the big city, I love Burlington because it has the small city feeling, but it has the big city opportunities, variety. You can go anywhere. Burlington's got everything, yet it's got so much greenery. It's got so much greenery. It's got I go along Britannia or up on Derry. I just watch the horses and just to get out for a drive, and it just is the Zen feeling. So I have to commend on the setup of Burlington, how they, you know, sort of, it's a journey, and it's great. The lakefront, the waterfront. That's the gem of Burlington. Nobody knows about our waterfront. I was down actually at Spencer's yesterday, speaking of the waterfront, and it's just such a sight to see.
It's certainly pretty special. I agree with you about the waterfront, and I live within half a block of the lake, and I really appreciate that. It gives us this sense of being in a you know, a place that's grounded. You know, it has all the elements. It's got green space, and it's got fresh air, and it's got the Great Lake. It's worth noting that 50% of our landmass is north of Highway 5 and the 407. And it is all rural land. And that was a decision made by councils maybe 30 years ago as being a strategy to maintain Burlington's feel and natural relationship with the environment. And you know, we were talking before the show about cycling. The reason I like to get out on my bike and do 55 kilometers going up straight north is because I can get into that rural area, and you get to have a whole sense of place that you could never get in Toronto, and I love Toronto too, nor in Oakville, but we have it right here in Burlington.
It's so true. Like I said, I come along Britannia all the time, and the construction is just going crazy. But as you get out to Burlington, there's so much greenery, and it's such a sight to see. So, Paul, tell us a little bit about your career and how we can further work together and help the people of Burlington, because I know there's lots of opportunities that you guys provide. And together with hopefully the stuff that we're providing now, we can just make it a better city for everybody involved.
Oh my goodness, my career, me, oh, Lord. Well, I'm a British person originally, and when I was 24, I moved to Canada. My dad had already moved out here, and I just loved the place the minute I arrived. And there's this whole nice balance, you know, about Canada. It's sort of right in the middle between the British and the American experience, and it gives you a feeling like I can belong here and I can live here, you know, politically stable, surrounded by the greatest body of potable water on earth, and one of the safest places to live is right where we live. But in that context, you know, my background has always been about wanting to do the right thing. So I started off in engineering, and that wasn't the right thing, and I decided I'd become an accountant. And I spent years as an accountant, working inside companies like Nortel and Levi Strauss. That was always fun. And then set up a consulting business in about 1988, and I had clients all around the world, and a lot of them in the United States. And so I got to travel broadly and get to see how people live. They say a desk is a dangerous place from which to view the world, right? So I got to see places that were amazing: China, Saudi Arabia, Peru, all around the world, and realized that really at the heart of everything is human beings, and trying to do the right things. People get kind of antsy when I go, "Well, you were in Saudi Arabia. What's up with that, buddy?" And I go, "No, there are lots of wonderful people in Saudi Arabia and all those Arab countries, and I have many who are friends." And that's how I feel about it. After I'd been consulting for a bunch of years, I felt like, I'd been a consultant. I'd had 1 year's experience, 17, 18 times, and I wanted to get out and do something different. And somebody gave me the opportunity to become CEO of one of the largest accounting associations in the world. I'm a money guy. I understand money. I understand how things work. And so that was a bridge into kind of a different kind of world where being involved with members and community became very understandable. So getting away from purely the drive to make money into a determination to purely help the community do good work. And after 5 years, I'm an adventurer. I like to do things different. So I got the chance. I just said, no, I'm out of here. And moved back to Burlington. I had the intention of starting a new business, but 2008, you will recall, there was the credit market meltdown.
Yeah.
And I'd started a new company, but that wasn't going to work out. And I used to have this wild and crazy fantasy while I was, traveling all those years. And the fantasy was that I wanted to sleep in my own bed.
There you go. Yeah. Well, that's a nice fantasy to have. Everybody loves their own bed. That's for sure. Speaking of that, I know. So coming from that's a very unique perspective, because you have both the business savvy in the mind, but you're also really want to help people. So that comes into the non-for-profit area, but also you're from the UK. You spent a lot of time in the US, and now you're in Canada. So you have a wonderful world perspective, like you said, not from your desk, but from traveling and from interacting with different countries, different styles of people, different cultures. So what would I want to do now, Paul, is that I'm going to take a quick break. And what do we want to do is we want to come back. We want to talk about your connection to the seniors in Burlington and possibly our connection, to see how we can, again, further help people. So hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Today Show in Halton. I'm Jay Stone.